everybody. We're here on our second live of the day, and we're recording. And we have another guest, and it's our first female guest. So I know your wife was commenting that we need to have female perspectives. There's no intent behind not including female
Sure,
perspectives.
guys. Sure.
It's just
I'm with
Todd and
Todd's wife.
Bill and Ken were all very enthusiastically wanting to get on. So, but you were one of the first people I contacted. So we have Penny here, and the first thing is just a brief an introduction to yourself, who you were, and some of your high school life.
Okay, I'm Penny Ramirez now. I used to be Penny Feild. Between there, I was a Penny Kolb. Many of you may remember me from dating Robert Kolb from high school. I swam. I did photography. I was on the fields taking pictures and sending them to the newspapers along with Shane. There's another person.
Okay.
Let's see, what else did I do in high school? I hung out with Mary Jane, and I was a bit about everywhere. I mean, Todd, you and I even went out. That was right. A long time ago, my friend. Yeah. You know that.
Yeah. Years ago, yeah.
Just a few. I miss some of the fun stuff we all used to do together in high school. Everybody's gone so far, even reunions aren't even easy to do.
Yeah.
So many people have moved. That's why I thought this was a great idea. It was an opportunity for some people to maybe reconnect that you guys know that I don't know, that I know as well, that I say, oh, look, I see this person was on there. I could talk to them. So I think this is a great idea for us to find people from our past.
Yeah. Yeah. That was kind of the idea. I mean, I've been to a number of reunions. They were always fun. But there's not a lot of depth, right? It's there's a desire. I mean, I talked to Deshaun at one and said, hey, we should get together, bring our families together and get to know each, and you just don't have enough time. It's a short window of time, and you can't get any depth with anybody. And, that's kind of why we want to have these just ongoing conversations and people coming back and going there. So, yeah, it's exactly what we want.
Yeah, because you're wanting to hit so many people in a reunion. Oh, I want to talk to them, and them, and you don't make it to everybody.
Yeah.
And this next thing they got going on, Penny, is October 23rd.
Yeah, just a
homecoming, but it's just James and I won't be able to make it because of 2 months and this many miles. It's kind of rough, but that's not to say, I mean, not to be an ass, but it doesn't have to revolve. If somebody decides they want to put something together and kind of give a lead time, we'll definitely talk about it and boost the hell out of it. But it doesn't need to be revolving around Rubidoux either. I mean, it can, obviously we probably want to have it in that area just because there is still, a lot of people that are close to that area. But if anybody decides to do anything, and give us more than a couple of months, we might be able to, James and I'll hitchhike out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there's got to be somebody in our generation that has a private jet that could fly you out.
You or James, right? Yeah.
I'm not high enough in the ladder to go. That's the one from work. I'm lucky to get tickets.
Yeah.
I'm not in that realm either, but I'm just saying there's got to be. We had some good people in our class.
Well, yeah, and those people know us well enough, they probably wouldn't let us on our jet.
And that's true, too.
That's true. We're flight lists.
That's too funny. What else do you guys want to know?
Well,
everything.
Yeah. So in high school, your high school, I mean, you kind of went over who you were.
Yeah.
What do you think people's impressions were of you? I mean, what do you think people thought of you?
Probably that I was. Gosh, Todd, what'd you think of me? I wouldn't know.
I was bubbly, happy.
Yeah, I was. I was very. I still am a bubbly, talk to anybody in the grocery store type person. So I didn't have that. Hasn't changed. I still will talk to anybody.
Yeah, that's what draws people to a lot of us introverts like people that are outgoing. So, so it's, the happy-go-lucky, and that's cool that that you haven't let life beat the hell out of you.
Yeah. Well, and
I
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I would say there was a little bit that I did,
Yeah.
but there's a little time that I did, but I found what made me happy, and that was, being out there with people. Even when I was in high school, I'd say hi to people I didn't know, just because maybe I want to know them. Maybe there's something interesting about them, and so
Yeah.
I did do that a lot. Now, would I know their name then or now? No, but it was just to say hi.
Yeah. So, what were your impressions of Todd and I?
I love Todd.
I am curious because I was surprised when I looked at like Bill. Like I knew Bill, and we ran. I mean, we ran together for a little bit, but more after high school. And
Bill Wilson, he's talking.
Bill Wilson, yeah. But his impression of me kind of surprised me. I'm like, that was not how I looked at myself. So it's interesting. I would be interested to hear what you thought of us.
Well, James, I thought you were outgoing and fun. That was my thing. You were always, for me, when I was around you, you were fun and easy to talk to. And I didn't have, it was fun to be around you.
Low effort.
Todd, I had a crush on. So what do you say about that? I mean, I wanted to be around him because I wanted him to like me.
Yeah. That's
But
cool.
but I will say this, cars came number one. No, and there wasn't, I think, a girl in school that would have taken and moved him away from his cars.
That's true. Cars were number one with him and the Raiders.
It was always his cars. That's all I can say about Todd. I mean, but he was a great guy, or he still is a great guy. But I mean, that's what I thought of him, and I wanted to be around him and be friends with him. So
yeah, that's what I thought of you. I thought you were the same way. I thought you were very easy to talk to, funny, and you had it always seems like you were connected, right? Connected to other people, and things are going on, and we're like, okay, yeah, she's cool, and so I did enjoy our times when we would screw around, and there's things that are going on, and we're laughing. I think you were involved in Spirit Club our senior year with me.
Yep.
Oh,
I did a lot of different things.
Yeah, so that's kind of my impression of you too. So going a little bit on that. So where are you now?
Where am I now? Like physically,
like just in your life. What's the current status right now where you're at?
Well, I'm on my second marriage.
Okay.
The best marriage.
Okay, good.
I've spent most of my life married. I was married to one person for 27 years.
Yeah.
And then now I've almost been married to my husband now for 8 years. And it is the most wonderful thing in my life. He helped change me back to who I was, because he's given me the freedom to be who I was, to talk to people, to go and do stuff, to be outgoing again. So I am involved in a lot of different activities. I'm not home very often. In fact, when I'm done with this, I have an exotic dinner to go to, where I'm going to get to try some different Venezuelan food and Trinidad food. And so I don't sit around and do nothing anymore. I have 7 grandchildren. Yeah. I have 7 grandchildren. My youngest one is 6 months old. So we just had another one. That's the end for my girls, because I have 2 older daughters from my first marriage. One is 32 and one is 30. My 32-year-old Shelby has 4. She has 3 boys and 1 girl.
Okay.
And she's the one that just had the 6-month-old. And my younger daughter Sierra has 3 girls.
Okay.
And her youngest is a little over 1.
Okay.
And I have another son that is my bonus baby. He was my husband's son, and so I'm mom. So I may get more grandchildren with him, but he's a freshman, so let's just wait a while.
Yeah. We don't want to. You don't want to hurry that process up.
No, he needs to. He just started his freshman year, and I will tell you guys, high school is so different from when we went to high school.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's even probably changed since my kids just got out of high school. I would imagine even now it's even more different.
there are so many orientations involved in it. I just remember being given a class schedule and thrown to the wolves.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was.
Yeah.
Now
It was
it's not
intimidating.
like that anymore. It's not
Yeah.
like that.
I just remember going to school the first time my freshman year. I didn't even get dropped off. I walked down Riverview. I walked up and I walked into school and I'm like, someone pointed me in the direction of getting in the line for A through whatever or A, B, and C. And I get in line and then I'm just sitting there waiting and they hand you that slip of paper. And then I'm like, where the hell is this and that? And then locker assignments and you're all just figuring it out on your own.
Seriously, and that's what it was. Now they go to school. He went to school. School officially started on Monday, this Monday, on the 10th. He went on Friday for orientation to show him around the campus, to show him, to talk about the different activities, talk about the different clubs.
Have jobs that I didn't get that kind of treatment.
That's probably why half of us weren't involved in the stuff we wanted to be involved in because it took us so long to get acclimated to the school. Like, oh, what do you mean? There's this club over here? What is this? Yeah.
No, they
yeah,
have
if
a
you
club
wanted to
rush.
sign up.
They have a club rush too in September, so that all the clubs will be out there and they can rush them like you do in college.
Yeah, I just remember my freshman year, like the moment I walked in, it was Mariloma and West Side. Rumors. I went to Mrs. Hosepian's class.
Okay.
She was in the where they had the extra little trailers, the temporary buildings over by the pool. And I remember walking up those stairs, and I remember looking out, and then the Yellow Jackets were running down in full speed towards the field. They're running across the softball field, around the pool, and down through that side of the field, the baseball field. And there was West Side and Mariloma gang members that were like going to be throwing down. It was like supposed to be some kind of gang riot. I don't know what it was. Maybe it ended up being like a couple guys fighting. But I remember that was like the big thing. I'm like, what the hell am I involved in?
I don't think anybody understands what it was like for us to go to school in Rubidoux, because there was everybody there. There were all the gangs. There were all the crowds of stuff. It's not like high schools today where it's more separated it out.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of everything in school.
You can be sitting next in class for some drug dealer that decided he's coming into school that day.
But I think it was better for us because we got, we got trial by fire basically, because my freshman year was, I think, the first year where there was some
cops on.
There was some sense of less violence for the throughout the year than the years before. My sister went there years before. Tom Cochran's brothers went there years before, and our freshman year was still pretty shaky, and you guys' freshman year was still pretty shaky. But I think definitely by the time you guys finished,
but yeah, we would never have
any shift.
Most of it was underground. It reminded me of like because I had friends over at Notre Dame, and I always joked around that my friends in at Rubidoux were bad. They were bad kids, right? And then the people over at Notre Dame, they weren't bad kids. They were evil kids. And what I mean is like when you go, there's chaotic evil, and then there's lawful evil. My parents loved the kids from Notre Dame. Oh, good Catholic school kids, and they were diabolical. Like they did stuff and got away with it, and all the parents loved them. And then over at Rubidoux, we do the same shit, but every parent was always calling out every so they were like, okay, yeah, you just weren't smart enough to get away with what the Notre Dame kids were able to get away with, and just knew to play the game. And most of my friends at Rubidoux could care less.
We didn't care. It's like, we're going to do it. Whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had more of a philosophy of like, I guess because we were rougher,
Yeah.
Because I had friends over, knew a couple people at Notre Dame that went to Notre Dame, and it was, they had their kind of rules, but we we had to fend for ourselves, man. You had to be
Yeah.
careful what you said to people that sat next to you in class,
Yeah.
because you could say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and you could be in some deep crap.
Yeah. I can tell you a couple of my fights in high school I had to do because I just said something the wrong way to some senior or some other kid and I get punched or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, no, we had an interesting time, and I don't think people really understand. It's the garden hose thing. You go and see those memes about what's going on. I know the way we were raised. I mean, we really are the fuck around find out generation. It's just we didn't care. We just didn't. We had to figure it out on our own. And we were all raised by boomers.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah, my parents, they both
Yeah.
worked. I came home, I was got to get home, take care of my brothers and stuff. It was like,
Yeah.
get dinner ready and do all that, because that's the way life was. And on the weekends, it was like, get outside and come back when the lights are off.
Yeah.
The lights are on.
Yeah. No joke. That's a common experience.
You're more prepared for real life.
We were.
Our kids have not been. I mean, I think I told Ted Lipka earlier that, thank God for my daughter-in-law, because my son was, I mean, he's a good kid, hard worker, but the most disorganized human being on the planet. And
Yeah.
if we didn't look alike, you would never know that he's my kid. We have no interests that are the same, but he's a way better dad than I ever was. He's got, I got 2 little grandbabies that live 2 or 3 miles away, and his wife is gold. She's a hard worker. She's gold as far as plus she gave me my 2 first grandbabies that are by blood, so she can never do wrong.
She has 7. Jesus Christ.
I know my
It's
wife.
expensive.
It's expensive. Yeah.
My wife's one of her granddaughters just got married this last weekend. She's got a shit ton, but her kids are from, she's got older kids and younger kids. And,
Yeah.
her youngest daughter, I helped raise, and she's getting married in November. So we're hoping more grandkids are coming.
Okay. So how many do you have though, Todd?
I have 1 child of my own.
Right. I know you have 1, but how many grandkids all around do you have?
Well, God, I don't know. I can't count. I can't count that.
We're gonna be finding grandkids. Maybe we shouldn't have done this podcast. We're gonna be, you're gonna be tracking you down, and
my wife's oldest daughter has 4 kids.
Okay.
And then her second daughter has 3 kids, and one of those kids is pregnant. So they're like, yeah. And then her other 2 kids there's one grandkid there, and then my son has 2 kids. So yeah,
I thought my 7 were alive.
Yeah, I'm at 4, and I have 1 on the way. That is
Wow.
My daughter's, her 3rd is coming on the way, and then my middle kid just got married, so they'll probably put it off for a year. But I'm anticipating there's going to be a few coming down the pike here as we go along. I don't know where it will finish, but yeah, that grandkids, man, it's fun. Yeah, one is starting T-ball now, so I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to coming out. Which is one of the goals, is I get to come out here, visit Todd, and then go out and watch my grandkids at church or at their events. So
yeah, my 2 granddaughters own me. They know. They walk in here because they lived with us when my first granddaughter was born. So
Okay.
I let them move in here because they wanted to come to Tennessee and get out of Vegas. And so she just I have a male. We have 2 Tibetan Mastiffs, and the male probably weighs 150, 160 pounds, and she's about eye to eye with him. And she's a little tiny blonde thing, and she grabs him by the face and just moves him out of the way if he gets in her face. And she wants something to eat. She comes in, opens the doors, or she just walks.
Oh yeah.
Walks all over.
Well, I think everybody's grandkids do that, because mine were just here the other day, and they're all like, "Okay, Grandma, what do you got in the cupboards?" So I always try to keep something in there. We had, we did a Costco run and we bought all kinds of junk. They were like pulling it out of the cupboard, sitting at the table, just munching.
Yeah.
So
Well, every year at Christmas, they come over and I make cookies with them. So, and it's been a learning lesson. The younger one was interested the first year, and the older one was interested this year. So it's kind of a go as they get patience, which I don't have. So I
I
see
do.
you're in the Riverside Women's Group, right? I see that in
Yeah,
your
the Riverside Women's Club. Yeah.
what
It's,
is what's that include?
let's see, that keeps me busy. It is a philanthropy organization where we do a lot of charitable things for women and like homeless, the needy. We give out scholarships to high school students, nursing students, doctors. We do, one of the fun things that I like to do is the firemen's dinner. We all get together, we make dinner for the firemen and take it to them, to different fire departments in the Riverside County.
Oh,
Uh, let's see, we have speakers come in and talk about health topics. Like one that did not pertain to me this time was osteoporosis. I'm not there yet. But there are a lot of women within the club that are. And so we had a doctor come out and talk about that for them, to give them, so they could ask a lot of questions. So a lot of times when you get in the doctor's office, you don't have time to, they don't give you the time of day to ask
Yeah.
all your in-depth questions. And so that we do things like that.
yeah,
Last night I taught a painting class, for, like the border pavers that you do put around your flower gardens.
yeah.
Yeah.
I painted them into beehives and into bumblebee, into ladybugs. And so I taught that class. It's kind of like a paint and sip. You know how you see those at bars and stuff like that?
Yeah.
It was basically that, but it wasn't on canvas. I teach those ones as well.
Okay.
So,
How did you get
so
into
it,
that?
my mom was a part of it and she wanted me to hang out with her. And so we joined together. Now she's the president. I'm the treasurer. And I may run for president next year, in 2 years. It keeps me
You'll have
busy.
to send us a link and we'll put it up there and
Yeah, we'll push
Okay,
you.
I will. That would be great because I mean there
yeah.
are women's clubs all over the United States. Our
Yeah.
federation, the head of it's in Washington D.C.
Okay. Yeah. You give me all the information, we'll make sure it's posted with all the videos
And,
we put up.
and that's something else. If you or your husband, if you guys have businesses or something that you want to promote, that's something else we're trying to do. Because if we're going to spend money, let's spend money with people that we know that can help. And that's kind of how we're looking at things on this. We're trying to do more than just conversations. We want it to be financially helpful. We want it to be physically helpful, and mostly on my case, which is probably no case, mentally helpful. But
Yeah.
hopefully other people can be at mental health if
I
they
think
need
it could be mentally helpful for everybody to see that, hey, my life hasn't gone down, everybody's life has gone down a dirty path and they can see the light again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like I said,
Yeah.
mine did. Mine did. I married Bob. Just so
Mhm.
y'all know, I married him back in '91, and it wasn't a good marriage. On for both parts. I did things that weren't good. He did things that weren't good.
Plus, you guys are so young.
We were young. We were young. I would say the best thing that came out of it were my two daughters. Um, he chooses not to have anything to do with them.
Oh.
He made some life choices of his own, and he has a new wife and family and stuff. And I hope he's happy. I
Yeah.
know that the life choices I've made are happy. My girls are extremely happy and well and fine without him having anything to do with him. But he was a narcissist, and but he always was, and I just never saw it
Yeah.
until later on. He is a good man in his own way.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much, but that changed who I was being in that marriage, and so I got out of it after 27 years and stayed with my parents for a while until I met my husband now, who is 11 years younger than I am.
Okay.
I went down the cougar route.
Oh,
But we met through our mothers, because he had gone through a horrible divorce. I was going through a horrible divorce, and they thought the two of us could talk about it and help each other out. And it ended up we met and we haven't been apart since. So
that's cool.
we can say that our mothers got us together. So it's kind of like an arranged marriage. But yeah, he's 11 years younger than I am. He is a medical physicist. He works in the medical field. So he doesn't have a business, but he works real hard. He when people have cancer treatments, he works in that field there,
Yeah.
working with people going through cancer treatments and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
That takes a special human being to be able to deal with that and put on a happy face for the people that need it.
There's times that it's a struggle for him, especially when it's kids.
Yeah.
Because, it's not just adults that get cancer, kids do too.
Yeah.
So, but
So
most
what
of the
do
time,
you do what do you do?
well, I went to CBU and I got my bachelor's and my master's in education.
I'm a CBU grad too.
All right.
Right. Go Lancers.
I did. I went and did all my stuff to become a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And when it got to student teaching, I wasn't able to do it. So I did teach. So now but I did teach anyway. I was teaching Head Start and preschool and stuff like that. But as for being able to go actually into like an elementary school classroom, I do it now as a reading intervention teacher. I
Okay.
go because I have everything that I'm missing. I have all my testing done, all my units done, but because I didn't do that one class,
Yeah.
I wasn't able. I don't have my full credential,
Yeah.
so I subbed for the schools. Now
Okay.
I stopped working back in 2008 in the schools, and I went and became a paralegal,
Yeah.
and I did that until 2000 and. Well, I still do it for my brother now and then, so I can't really say I've stopped. But lately, I'm a substitute teacher, but I do what's called reading intervention, where I go and I work with children that are struggling with the reading and language, and their letters, their sounds, reading comprehension, and so forth.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding because I have good kids in my groups and they leave my groups because they've advanced. And so it's really rewarding.
Yeah. That's
But it's nice because I don't have to do lesson plans. I don't have to deal with the bureaucratic stuff.
yeah. That's the one thing with the teaching is the freedom that they don't have a lot of it, and from what I see, like I've seen a lot, like I've had friends that went through the program at CBU for education, and you could almost see immediately these young teachers who were really excited about it and had all the right attitude, and then they get in there and they get beaten down by the
It's
system, and it
mhm.
just kills the innovation. It's just like when you say bureaucracy, it's one of the worst things with the and I don't know if it's true across the board across the country, but at least from what I see, that's something we've lost in our education. I mean, I have a lot of teachers I think back on that I'm like, I sometimes didn't like them, but they were. I mean, I really had some great teachers at Rubidoux that I looked up to. That tell me, Mr. Hughes, some of the people that just really had a great influence on me, just because they were given freedom to do what they needed to. Like my economics course, I forgot who taught economics over there, but
Jones.
Was it Jones? Yeah,
Jones.
I loved his class, man. He was really good, and yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of economics. I did well in the class, but yes, we did have freedom in there.
Yeah.
It was, but
Well, he
a
had
lot of
freedom
those,
to teach the way he wanted to teach. He did some really
yes,
fun, innovative stuff.
Yes, and that's the thing is, we can still do that in the classroom to a small extent because you have a book and you've got to follow it almost line by line. I did state testing this last year and I thought I was going to pull my hair out because the
Yeah.
poor kids are asking questions and you cannot answer those questions. You have to go by the dialogue they give you.
Yeah.
And
That's
I think
crazy.
it's frustrating.
Dude, I would be so rebellious in that area. I'd probably be in trouble and fired. Yeah, they would fire me early. Because I teach, but
Yeah.
I teach at I've been teaching at the adult level since the 90s in technology. And it always like was shocking to me because you see the entrance exam for something like, United Education Institute or these technical trade schools and these students that come out of high school, they're supposed to pass some basic competency. And they were not, I'm like, how are you I'm going to teach a class. I'm going to teach you some electronics. I'm going to talk about electricity and these concepts and formulas. And I'm going to go through this and you can't even do basic math.
Well, that's part of the problem that I see just from now a corporate side, but something's got to change because for decades they pushed, okay, you may be okay going to college, but that may not be for everybody. And then you can't get a job unless you go to college. And that has turned out the worst workforce I've ever seen in my entire life. Because I can tell you, I won't use names, but I worked across from a couple of kids who were Vanderbilt graduates. Okay, Vanderbilt's not a cheap school to go to here in Nashville, and they were making $16 an hour. And this is just like 3-4 years ago, and they were as lost as anything, and they literally were just living in a shady.
I'm going to tell you us with home economics, with going through having to build engines, welding, and all the trade stuff that we had access to in high school. I mean, I learned more complicated, like practical, useful math and practical decision making in those classes because you're on your own and create it.
Well, you know what? When it comes to math, I'll trust Jason Waldemuth. He's been a contractor his whole life. Him and I worked on job sites right out of high school together. He owns his own place now in Northern California. But I'd trust him with math a lot quicker than I'd trust a mathematician because you know what? Your mind has to work a different way because it's your life. When you're up on 3 stories up, if you're missing by a half an inch or 3/8 of an inch, it's the difference in that thing. You're scrapping everything and starting over. But there's got to be to me, there's got to be a better mixture of actual hands-on and of whatever field you're going into and the college education. Should I have stayed in college? Yeah, I've got people that have managed me throughout, especially in corporate world, that literally I bet can't pump their own gas, and I've never been outside of the.
I can attest to that because I have a master's and it's open doors, but it has nothing to do with my job.
Yeah, see, I have a master's in education and I can't, I did it because I wanted the knowledge, but I can't really it doesn't affect my pay grade.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And the sad thing is like there was a period of time there from the mid 90s to about 2008, 2010, and that I was involved in education in either I was doing it part time or whatnot. I was doing these trade school kind of things. And I remember going to my oldest son's, graduation, right? And I'm sitting up there and remember in the back, when I graduated, it just said, hey, and they're going in and it wasn't really a lot of fanfare about what we were doing. Right. And then when my son went to, when he graduated, it was a litany of people saying, this is this and where they're going. Right. Oh, so-and-so graduation and headed off to and it would be what school and all this stuff. So you would expect like the valedictorian. Yeah, and the number of people that were trade schools, and it was concerning to me because I know how those operate, and they're a corporation, and they're not saving any money. You're going to go in and you're going to learn welding school, like is Robertson's welding school, and they announce it, and I'm like, that's $25,000 tag, right? I'll learn something that I learned in high school because I got off.
Right.
I mean, I was in middle of high school and I was working on a job site doing electrical work.
But they pulled all that stuff out of school.
Yeah, and so but they're charging now and putting people in debt for what we used to learn for free.
Which is sad. Well, let's go back to the basis. Consumers ed, they can't even write a check. If they had to write a check, they don't do it anymore. They can't do their taxes. Do you remember learning all that in school?
Yeah.
Well,
They
yeah,
don't
I
know how to
remember
do
going
it now.
classes.
I remember, I mean, there's things like, I remember, I had to sew something one time. Don't get me wrong, I am no expert, right? I know how to iron my clothes. I can wash my clothes. I can do this. There's just things that you have to practically learn in high school. My mom and dad are at home. So you learn how to cook. And it doesn't make you excellent at all of it, but you come up with your own stuff. And I remember the one thing from Consumers Ed and Home Ec was sewing. And I went over, found my mom, like some sewing kit that was in the back, and I was able to repair, something for a job interview because it was coming apart at the seam. And I was like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, hey, that worked for me. Was it excellent? It probably fell off, fell apart like shortly thereafter. But I was able to functionally get something done and not afraid of it, right? It's just, the practical skills are just not there. Running a bank account, doing all that stuff, it's just not there.
Penny, how much did you put into that with your daughters in learning? And did they push back in here, or were they pretty open to like learning cooking and basic, things that we all learned because it was either forced on us or we liked it?
I will say that I probably didn't do as much as I should have. But both
Yeah.
of my girls are excellent cooks now. But I did teach them how to bake and how to do general stuff. But with the household, it was my responsibility.
Yeah.
And I wasn't supposed to put, so I just did it,
Yeah.
They did, but I'm just saying they cook just fine now. They don't have any issues. They're not Stouffer's wives or anything like that, where they eat just frozen food.
Yeah. I look back and I go, I remember seeing my kid later on, and I think we went somewhere and then it was about oil changing or checking the oil levels. And I'm like, oh my God, I never sat down with them and ever taught them. And so those are some like regrets I have. Like
I made my son to.
Yeah, I know you did, but I mean, there's like things I missed out, and I look at my son. He's an electrician now. I go, that's a whole bunch of stuff that I could have taught him before he ever got there. That would have maybe given him that idea. But now he's doing it, and so he's learned. But it just like almost a delayed kind of thing, rather than I was already doing that in the 9th, 10th grade.
What people don't understand is what's happened to this country is now we have 2 classes, whether they want to believe it or not, but it's not a financial situation. It's okay, I don't know how to fix my own sink, so I'm going to hire the plumber, and the plumber is going to charge me $145 an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm going to think that's out fucking outrageous. But you know what? He can charge $145 an hour because there's 8 people within 10 square miles that can do it, and 7 of those suck. So, I mean,
It's true.
Yeah.
I just.
I think that's why Gen X is so resilient, is because most of us could do that shit.
Well, one thing that sucks that I don't like about not being, we've all scattered out. A lot of our classes scattered out, and I blame California. I will always blame California.
Yeah, I agree.
But the sad thing is it's also, something that you learn from, most of my family and friends, the Mexican family and friends. I always had friends that were Mexican, and they are very tight group families. And with that, they help each other out. And our friendships were that way too. I spent some of the best time I ever had in my life was working on Greg Muller's Nova in his garage. And two people can get, two kids that are dumb as shit and don't know anything, but we got a lot done, and that saved him a ton of money. But the thing is, if we were all closer, we'd be able to help each other out. And it's just not that way. I mean, there's the world is bigger.
Yeah.
Going back to did I teach my kids stuff? You asked if I taught them how to cook. I kind of did. Like I said, they did, but I taught them how to change a tire. I taught them how to check their oil. I taught them how to change their windshield wipers. All the things, how to, jump their car, put gas in their car, changing their oil. I didn't teach them. I could do it, but I never taught them how to do that. But the basics on dealing with their car, I didn't want them getting on the side of the road and not be able to change a tire and stuff like that. But my dad made sure I knew how to do it. So I was making sure my girls knew how to do it.
Yeah.
But it's not, but today, everybody pays for somebody, but there's not a lot of people in some trades. I'm looking, you look for people like a plumber or a HVAC person. You're not getting the quality you got back in the 80s. And
I stripped my kitchen down to the studs, and a few years ago, and my wife about killed me, but I did it because our refrigerator died, and I said, well, I don't want a regular refrigerator. I want literally something that's 7 feet wide and 7 feet tall. So
oh my gosh.
It's a primary feature of the kitchen.
it is a primary feature of the kitchen. That's huge. But we redid she helped me. We redid every square inch of this thing, and I started getting into it. And I'm like, I don't like where the sink's at. I want to move the sink. I don't like electric appliances. I'm going to put gas in. So I hire a guy to do my plumbing, figuring, okay, I want him just to move the drain. He fucked it up. I had to go into there and tear it out and redo it. So now as soon as I start, right now I'm in the middle of our master bathroom. James can tell you it's down to the studs. Mm-hmm. All the plumbing gone, all the electrical's gone, and I just rip everything out and start over because what else am I going to?
Yeah. My air conditioning went out last weekend. My husband fixed it. He's all, I'm not calling somebody. He went in there and he diddled with it and fixed it. And I'm like, okay, I don't have to worry about paying somebody because he knows how to do that stuff. And yet, even though he's in the younger generation than us, there's not, many people that can do it anymore.
Yeah. And it takes, you also have to have it's got nothing to do with whether you can afford it or whether you want to afford it or whether you think it's expensive. It's good or bad. Most of us guys like fixing shit, or at least attempting to fix it first. And unfortunately, I don't see that in most of the younger generation. My son doesn't have it. Not at all.
There's a curiosity of knowing how stuff works. I just remember I was always curious of if I take those bolts off, how the hell is that doing what it's doing? I had this natural curiosity of like, I want to know how that works. And so it leads you down a path of being kind of more, it's a different way of being creative, I guess, because you want to know. So I pull stuff apart. I remember I had an uncle that just had a workshop, and he would give me stuff like a shoebox full of stuff, and I would tear it apart, put it back together, and I would, and then I'm figuring out, this connects here. This is how the electricity goes there, and and try to repair things and get it up and running, and it was just junk.
I want to challenge everybody on here or everybody that listens to call any automotive repair shop they have near them that they either know somebody or may know somebody, and just pick up the phone and say, I have a carburetor that I need rebuilt. I will carry it in. I don't need it tuned. I just need it rebuilt. And see the answers. I want to know the answers.
You want to know the answers?
I want to know the answers.
I don't know. I took my Mini Coupe to get the oil changed, and I brought it up there to get the oil change. He goes, "Oh, no, we can't do that." And I go, "What? What are you talking about? I've changed this like 15 times." Well, and I'm like, "I know. There's this piece here that's made out of plastic that if you break it, it's go. I'm not going to hold you responsible. I'll get a new one if you end up breaking it. Pop it off. Here, I'll pull it off for you." I pull it off for him, and I go, "You can access the filter this way." I go, "Just change it." Right? Because I wanted to make sure it was all drained, and I don't have a place of disposing of the oil because it's just a pain. And they were refusing. I'm like, "My Lord, people, they're freaking out." I go, "Here, I'll give you all the instructions. I'll do all the work leading to this. Just dispose of the oil for me."
You know what
So
they want? They want you to.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of cars that dealerships are, like little mom and pop, you have to go to mom and pop shops that'll work on them because like Valvoline and all them, they won't do it.
yeah.
Which, quite honestly, you're better off.
Yeah.
Well,
I
correct.
just want a nice place to get rid of the oil because it used to be that you could take
Right
that
down the
stuff
street.
and you just right in your.
No, you know what?
I'm in
That's
Huntsville.
the funny thing.
Yeah.
Is I moved out here. I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. I'm 50 minutes dead south of downtown Nashville.
Yeah.
In my 20s, but they have shit set up to where they have these little mini dumps, and they have a place for metal, they have a place for freaking electronics, they have oils drop. So I mean, it's never been easier for us, and I guess there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
But it's these guys are supposed to be backwards, but they kind of got things ahead.
Well, yeah, they're ahead because they didn't buy into all the California crap.
Now you can take it to O'Reilly's or whatever, but you can only give them so much. They
Yeah.
won't take it all. They'll only take a little. It's
Or
so
you
much
just
of it.
put it in those big plastic what the hell are the Arizona tea jugs, the gallon jugs, and just leave it there outside their door at night. And guess what?
Yeah. It was mobile in the Stater Brothers of the Deanza Plaza that I always went to. I would always drop off my oil. Right there. If they had a big old 55-gallon drum, you just go.
If you just drop it off in front of some place, it doesn't matter how much you take there.
Yeah.
When they show up the next morning, they got to do something, especially if you leave it in the front door.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'll have to tell my husband that.
Yeah.